Well, today we're in Psalm chapter 97. I want to read just a couple of verses from this passage. Beginning in verse number 1, uh, the psalmist said that the Lord reigns, let the earth rejoice, and the multitudes of the isle be glad. Then, secondly, in verse number 7, let all be put to shame who serve carved images. And then, thirdly, I like to read from verse 9 and following. For you, Lord, are the most high above all the earth. You are exalted above all gods. You who love the Lord hate evil. He preserves the souls of his saints. He delivers them out of the hands of the wicked. Now, the psalm divides itself into three parts. In the first place, it is that the Lord is supreme and he rules over the earth, and he has universal uh, reign and rulership. In other words, he's sovereign. And not everybody's always aware of that fact. If you remember in the book of Daniel, in the fourth chapter, in verse number 25, God was going to teach Nebuchadnezzar a lesson that he had refused to learn, that God rules in the kingdoms of men and gives the kingdoms to whom he wants to. I once heard a story about a college professor who was an atheist, and he really shocked his class one time by taunting God. He said, well, now, if there's a God, then let him knock me off this platform. And he continued in that craziness for the next 10 minutes, taunting God. Well, if you're really a God there, knock me off this platform. Well, it just so happened that there was an ex-Marine who had just registered in that class, and he walked up and knocked him right off his feet and off the platform. And after a few minutes later, the professor woke up and he said, "What's the matter with you? What are you doing? Why did you do that for?" And the Marine said, "You know, God was busy, so he sent me." Now, that may be somewhat humorous, but there's a time coming when there'll be a great realization and awareness that God really does reign. And not only does he reign over the earth, but he actually reigns over his enemies. But notice in the latter part of the psalm that those who have given their lives to God and living under his term, recognizing his reign over them, that there's great rejoicing and gladness. They rejoice that God reigns in their life. I know one thing, it's hard to rule your own life, isn't it? And usually we don't do a very good job of that. And so letting the Lord reign in your life and following his precepts and surrendering your will, living under his terms is really the right thing to do. And that's a good thought for today, isn't it? Letting the Lord reign over our life, because you know what? He'll do what's best. And if we truly do that, that'll bring us contentment and satisfaction and joy. So let us rejoice over that fact. And we'll continue our studies in the Psalms in Psalm chapter 98 tomorrow. See you then.